Some mystics say that they never see anything without seeing God before it. Others say without seeing God after it, or with it. Or they say that they see nothing but God. A certain Sufi said, I made the pilgrimage and saw the Kaaba, but not the Lord of the Kaaba. This is the perception of one who is veiled. Then he said, I made the pilgrimage again and saw both the Kaaba and the Lord of the Kaaba. This is the contemplation of the self-subsistence through which everything subsists, i.e. he saw the Kaaba subsisting through the Lord of the Kaaba. Then he said, I made the pilgrimage a third time and I saw the Lord of the Kaaba, but not the Kaaba. This is the station of the Waqfat, passing away in the essence. In the present case, the author is referring to contemplation of the self-subsistence. So, much concerning the theory of illumination, but as Mephistopheles says, grau ist alle Theorie. And though to most of us the living experience is denied, we can hear its loudest echoes and feel its warmest afterglow in the poetry which it has created. Let me translate a part of a Persian ode of the Dervish poet Baba Kuhi of Shiraz, who died at 1050 of the Common Era. In the market, in the cloister, only God I saw. In the valley and on the mountain, only God I saw. Him I have seen beside me, oft in tribulation, in favor and in fortune, only God I saw. In prayer and fasting, in praise and contemplation, in the religion of the prophet, only God I saw. Neither soul nor body, accident nor substance, qualities nor causes, only God I saw. I opened mine eyes, and by the light of his face around me, in all the eye discovered, only God I saw. Like a candle I was melting in his fire. Amidst the flames outflashing, only God I saw. Myself with mine own eyes I saw most clearly. But when I looked with God's eyes, only God I saw. I passed away into nothingness, I vanished. And lo, I was the all-living, only God I saw. The whole of Sufism rests on the belief that when the individual self is lost, the universal self is found, or in religious language, that ecstasy affords the only means by which the soul can directly communicate and become united with God. Asceticism, purification, love, gnosis, saintship, all the leading ideas of Sufism are developed from this cardinal principle. Among the metaphorical terms commonly employed by the Sufis as more or less equivalent to ecstasy are fana, passing away, wajd, feeling, sama, hearing, dhauk, taste, shurb, drinking, gaibat, absence from self, jadbat, attraction, sukr, intoxication, and hal, emotion. And it would be tedious and not, I think, especially instructive to examine in detail the definitions of those terms and many others akin to them which occur in Sufi textbooks. We're not brought appreciably nearer to understand the nature of ecstasy when it is described as a divine mystery which God communicates to true believers who behold him with the eye of certainty, or as a flame which moves in the ground of the soul and is produced by love desire. The Muslim theory of ecstasy, however, can hardly be discussed without a reference to the above mentioned technical expressions, namely fana and sama. A lot of verses, the one in Surah 39 about the sensual and the emotional psychiatric high being all implied there at once of the believer, and believer, the verse meaning that they claim it and that they go along with it. As I have remarked in the introduction, page 17 to 19, the term fana includes different stages, aspects, and meanings. These may be summarized as follows. A moral transformation of the soul through the extinction of all its passions and desires, a mental abstraction or passing away of the mind from all objects of perception, thoughts, actions, and feelings through its concentration upon the thought of God. Here the thought of God signifies contemplation of the divine attributes, the cessation of all the conscious thought. The highest state of fana is reached when even the consciousness of having attained fana disappears. This is what the Sufis call the passing away of passing away. Fana al-fana, The mystic is now wrapped in contemplation of the divine essence. The final stage of Fana, the complete passing away from self, forms the prelude to Bhakka, continuance or abiding in God, and will be treated with greater fullness in chapter 6. The first stage closely resembles the Buddhistic nirvana. It is a passing away of evil qualities and states of mind which involves the simultaneous continuance of good qualities and states of mind. This is necessarily an ecstatic process inasmuch as all the attributes of self are evil in relation to God. No one can make himself perfectly moral, i.e., perfectly selfless. This must be done for him through a flash of the divine beauty in his heart. While the first stage refers to the moral self, the second refers to the recipient and intellectual self. Using the classification generally adopted by Christian mystics, we may regard the former as the consummation of the purgative life and the latter as the goal of the illuminative life. The third and last stage constitutes the highest level of the contemplative life. Often, though not invariably, Fana is accompanied by loss of sensation. Sari al-Sakati, a famous Sufi of the 3rd century, Al-Hijra, 5%, right, expressed the opinion that if a man in this state were struck on the face with a sword, he would not feel the blow.